Okay, I've never actually commented on this Instagram post where SJM is promoting ACOSIF, but also name drop Breonna Taylor. I've never commented on this because I came into the fandom like 2 3 years after this. It never felt like my place. I'm also not a black woman. Like, I really didn't want to speak on this issue and speak over anybody, you know? That being said, though, I understand how the politics of ACOTAR and the politics of the other two series is to a lesser extent. Like, I understand how the racial politics of Prithian are so muddled now. Because in her caption, like, she is saying like all the right things. Like, this would have, if this book came out in 2021, this post must have been 2020, so that would have been an election year. And she's definitely saying things that are correct. Like, hey, we have a president who's trying to destroy our democracy, and now he's back. Like, she wasn't incorrect. And like, yeah, she's encouraging people to vote. I'm not upset about any of that. But name dropping Breonna Taylor, like, isn't great. Like, that's not a great way to do that. And it just kind of goes to show where I think like she meant well, and it didn't come off that way because that's just a little bit tone deaf, you know? And I just also think that the issue here is not necessarily that she was talking about Breonna Taylor in her post. It was that she just name dropped Breonna Taylor. Like, she didn't like talk about like her case or anything like that. It was just kind of like, oh, like in the wake of this, and that's not okay. I think if you're going to put somebody's name in your mouth, especially the name of a victim of the police state, maybe talk about, the police state and all of that stuff. Like, if you're gonna name drop like a dead person, maybe center the dead person a little bit more. Like, maybe it's not about ACOSIF in this moment. Maybe it's about Breonna Taylor. And I understand why people were like offended by that. And it also just goes to show that you can't necessarily rely on the author being like, this is feminist material, or this is, like liberal leftist material, and just rely on the author's word for it, because like this is not necessarily the height of feminism. Like, ACOTAR is not the height of feminism in YA and NA literature. And like, at the end of the day, you are dealing in political material, even if you don't think that you're dealing in political material. Like at the end of the day, when you are dealing with the Night Court, you are dealing with an apartheid state. And if you can't recognize what an apartheid state is, you're perpetuating apartheid state material as like, oh no, like, this is it's such a great society. No, it's not. Like, you do need to think about it with a critical eye. Like, I don't think you can, like, I don't think you have to just like completely dismiss problematic material, because ACOTAR does have its problems, and I clearly like ACOTAR, which is why I can't stop yapping about it. I just think you have to know why it's problematic, and not necessarily let your own politics like get muddled by it. Like, make sure that, like, your internal logic is consistent. And I think that's the issue with this post that I think that people have. Like, again, correct me if I'm wrong, because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think the issue is that some of the fans think that this isn't a big deal, because it's like, if she hadn't talked about Breonna Taylor, then we would be talking about like how she doesn't give a fuck about, black women who are killed by the police state, which sucks. I'm having a hard time like saying this, but I think that at the end of the day, Sarah has a platform, and it is these books that gave her that platform, and the rest of her body of work that gave her that platform. And if she's going to talk about the appalling lack of justice for Breonna Taylor and the president doing his best to undermine and destroy our democracy, I think she could have gotten into it a little bit more nitty gritty, even in another post, even to clarify this, because like, she definitely saw like the criticism of just, oh, name dropping Breonna Taylor. Like, maybe talk about Breonna Taylor. Maybe, you know, don't make it look like marketing. I understand her intent, but at the end of the day, she made it look like marketing. I understand why people are upset about this. They're like still upset about, like, there are people like boycotting these books from what I understand because of this Instagram post. Like, she could have clarified her thoughts a little more. I don't think you were speaking to me when you commented this, but I did feel like I wanted to say something about it because I've never said anything about this particular Instagram post. And I feel like you can't talk about ACOTAR and you can't talk about the SJM verse without talking about SJM's politics, because she is clearly very liberal and she has like the basics of liberal ideas, but you could tell like she's not all the way there yet. And I think talking about that is a good thing. And her just name dropping Breonna Taylor in an ACOSIF promotional post is not really a good thing, you know?